Hi everyone. So today Salesforce Consulting Admin Training Day 16. Let's see what we are going to learn today. Today our focus is we'll just quickly go through the previous session and then we will talk about roles and we'll see what are the difference between the roles and profile and what are the role hierarchy. And also we will see the organization by defaults. Where can we see what is this OWD and what are the OWD navigation steps and what will happen if I set up the private on the OWD. And we'll see the sharing mechanism, what are the different ways we can share the records and what are the manual sharing. And we'll see the requirement, conclusion and the quiz, homework and today's interview session. Interview questions. Okay, so quickly, what did we learn in last session?
Permission set control, create permission set control, properties of permission set control,
Permission set group.
profile versus permission set, permission set
Set
group,
group and roles roles
roles,
versus profile.
profile
Role
versus
hierarchies.
Role hierarchy, right? So today also we will see we'll talk about the role and we'll see the practically how we can apply the roles. So first of all, a role is nothing but, as we have discussed yesterday, Salesforce roles are record level access controls that defines what data a user can see in Salesforce. Right, and the roles are designed to increase the record level visibility. That means it will open up the record level access to the Salesforce records. So if we look at the complete org wide, so in the org wide, so we have at the baseline object permission is set as a profile and permission set. That means profile and permission sets are these are the where we are going to apply the object level permissions. So these are baseline object permissions. On top of it, we have a org wide, so which is called as a OWD. This is a base level record access. OWD is base level record access. So what are the base level record access we have? In order to increase that base level record access, we will use the role hierarchy. So role hierarchy will open up the access. So whatever at the org wide, whatever at the organization wide, we have a record level access. If it is a less access, if you wanted to expand the access to the another users, then by using the role hierarchy, we will open up the access and we will so that the records will be accessible by the user who are owning that record role. So as I have mentioned that there is a role is nothing but, so for example, in our organization, we have at the high level, we have a CEO and and below that we have a CFO and then COO and below that we have CTO. And below the CTO, assume that there is a VP. Now here, if you look at the org structure, the role hierarchy structure. Now CFO, COO, CTO, okay? All these three positions are on the same position, right? All three of them are reporting to CEO. CTO is reporting to CEO. COO is reporting to CEO. CFO is reporting to CEO. So these three positions are in the same line. So that means this is called siblings. This is called siblings. That means they are in the same level of access will be there. So these are the siblings. CFO, COO, CTO are the siblings. That means they are in the same level of access. They are in the same level of access. So whatever the CTO has the access, it will be similar access for the COO, CFO. Probably there is an additional access which is related to the admin or finance related access will be there. But this COO and CFO, CTO will be sharing they will be having a same access and they are reporting to CEO. CTO is reporting to CEO, COO is reporting to CEO, and CFO is reporting to CEO. So all these three R's, whenever we see that there are some roles which are in the same level, is nothing but they are siblings. They are siblings. And whatever the top, the one we are reporting, so CEO is called superior. CEO is called superior. That means in the role hierarchy on top level, we always have a superior. So the concept of role hierarchy is on top, it will be superior, and below whoever is reporting to superior. For example, if one person or more than one person, whoever is reporting to superior, if multiple people are reporting to superior, all three of them is called siblings. All three of them are called siblings or subordinates. Subordinates, superior, or you can say sibling. So subordinates will be whatever the subordinates is performing on the org wide, whether they are creating the record or they are working on some cases, whatever the subordinates are doing it, everything superior can see. Everything, the superior will be having all the access to the subordinates. So these CFO, COO, CTO are called subordinates or siblings. Now let's move on to the role. So the difference between the role and profile, we have already discussed it yesterday. So what is the differences between the profile and roles?
Role is the user what they can see in the see the records.
Record level.
And profile what the users can do in.
Profile determines what users can do, create, read, edit, delete.
Delete.
Role is determines what users see, record, visibilities.
Profile creation.
In profile, a user must have a profile assigned.
Is
In
optional.
role, it's optional. Grouping users with similar functions in profile. Hierarchy that splits users with more authority from those with less is roles.
Right. So the profile and role, so the basic difference is profile determines what user can do, whereas role determines what user can see the record. And defining the profile is a mandatory for user, whereas role is a optional. It's not a mandatory. And profile will be assigned to group of users. That means group of users will be having a similar functions. Whereas here hierarchy splits the users based on the position or based on the authority to get a more authority. So it will be divided based on the hierarchy. Controls access of object field security at the profile level. Role level control the access to the records and folder. So this is the differences between the records and this is the difference between the profile and role. Now coming back to the role hierarchy. So role hierarchy allows the developer or allows the users to make the subordinates records to get visible to the manager by default. That means what are the hierarchy level is there, superior and subordinate. So as I declared the role hierarchy, so what are the subordinates are there? Automatically, whoever the manager for the subordinates, the superior, so the superior will be automatically getting the access, the visibility will be there. Okay, so it will be automatically applied as soon as we declare the role hierarchy. So Salesforce by default provides the role hierarchy for each organization. That means as soon as I create a Salesforce org, by default, Salesforce create a certain role hierarchy. So we can either delete it or we can customize it. That means we can modify or edit it. So as example that I was discussing, so right now we are going to implement this role hierarchy. So on top level CEO, and this is the superior, and the subordinates CFO, COO, and CTO. And for the CTO, again, the subordinate is VP. So this is the role hierarchy that I'm going to create in the org. So let's go ahead and create in the org. Setup. So let's go to the role. So users, roles. Whenever we land onto the roles, by default, the screen will be visible. So if you wanted to disable this, you can check this, do not show this page again, and click on the setup roles. Now, right now I have deleted all my default structure. Yesterday, if you remember, there was a default structure it was showing in the role hierarchy. Now I have deleted entire structure. So by default, this Samskar ID, whatever this is there, this is the company name. This is company name. This company name based on the org that whatever you are creating it. So whenever you are creating a org, you have to give a company name, right? So based on the company name, the role top hierarchy, the top will be created. And this top, we cannot be edited and it cannot be deleted. Whatever the topmost is there, it cannot be deleted, cannot be edited. Now here, if you see, there is an option to view different ways. So show in tree view, that means tree structure will be, you can see all the, whatever the role hierarchy is there, you can view in the tree structure. But in case if you wanted in the list view, sorted list view, that means if you wanted to sort it, so for example, I have a 10 roles or 20 roles, I need to sort it based on the certain role criteria, or if I wanted to filter based on S, right? So you can do that. Or else, if you do not want these letters here and you do not want the sorting, but I just want the list view. So in that case, you can select the list view. It will just show the list view. So these are the three options which are available on the roles. For now, we are going to select the show in tree view. Now, Samskara IT is a by default. Whenever we create a org, based on the company name, this will be created. Now I'll click on the add role. So when I click on a add role, so by default, the screen will be visible. Now here, the first one, it is going to ask what is the label, role label name. What is the name of the role? And the role name is a API, which is automatically displayed it by wherever the space is there, it will replace with the underscore. So it will just replace with the underscore and display the role name automatically. Now, the third one is this role reports to. In case if you wanted to change your reporting, then you can change it by clicking on this binocular. And the role name as displayed on the reports. For example, you are giving some name here. Let's assume that you are giving here CEO. But in the reports, I do not want to show this as a CEO. I wanted to show this as a CEO. Or I wanted to show this as a Chief Executive Officer, complete name. In that case, what you can do is you can write whatever the name that you wanted to display on the reports. So we have a different object called report. So we have not discussed the reports and dashboard. So reports are nothing but it's kind of your statement, right? So monthly statement or bank statement, or it is like a phone bill. So whenever you get a phone bill, monthly phone bill, the entire data will be created, right? So kind of a tabular format, which will be there in the row and columns. So that is the by default will be given to us whenever we request for the statement or whenever request for the phone bill. That is what we will get it. So that is something called, that is called reports here. So reports are which you are going to generate a report based on the client requirement. So in case if you wanted to show on the report level, if you wanted to show them as a different role, you can give a different role. So these are the 4 options. For now, I'm going to create CEO here. So CEO. So automatically role name is displayed. This is a optional. Role name as displayed on reports is a optional. So I'll click on save. So as soon as I click on save, the first it will be displayed. First it will be displayed the Samskar IT, then CEO. Inside the CEO, I do not have anything. Inside CEO, I do not have anything. Now, if you wanted to make a changes, you can edit it. If you want to delete it, you can delete it. Or if you want to assign this role to the specific user, you can assign it. So for now, we are going to just declare that the role hierarchy. So right now, we are not focusing on the assignment. So let's click on the add role. So CEO, we have a different CFO, reports to CEO, click on save. As soon as it is saved, it will be redirected to the detail section. This is the detail section of the role. So label CFO, reports to CEO, and role name is, this is the API name. And by default, you will get a opportunity access and case access. I'll discuss this, just hold on these 2 options because there is a dependency here. For now, by default, what it is giving that this CFO role, whatever the CFO role is there, this CFO role will have a edit option. This CFO role has a edit all the opportunities regardless of his own opportunity or somebody else opportunity. Similarly, case access is this CFO role has edit access on the case regardless of whether the case is created by the user who owns the role of CFO or it might be another user who has created it. So for all the cases, they have a edit access. Now CFO is reports to CEO. Now you can see the tree structure. Now I'll create it one more, but it is not reporting to CFO. We need the another one who are reporting to CEO, which is COO. So this time what I'll do is I'll click on a save and new instead of a save because I have to create another one. So I'll click on save and new. Now this time I'll be creating the CTO and again I'll click on save new. And the last one which we have a VP, but VP is reporting to not the CFO. VP is reporting to CTO. See, some changes has happened here. Because when we created the, okay. So CTO is reported to CFO. This is something wrong, right? CTO should be reported to CEO. Now click on edit. Change this CFO to CEO. Click on save. Now. So superior is a CEO here. Now these three are subordinates. These three are subordinates, and these subordinates are reporting to CEO. And here superior is a CTO and subordinate is VP. Subordinate is reporting to CTO. Right, this is the structure we have created. Now, if you wanted to see in the sorted list view, this is how they will be displayed. A role reports to whom, and what name needs to be displayed on the reports. If you do not want the sorting, if you just want the list view will be displayed like this. So what are the structure is there? So this is the structure, CEO, and CEO is reported to CFO, COO, CTO, and then CTO is reports to VP. Now this is the hierarchy which we have created. Perfect, the hierarchy has been created. Now let's go to the user level. Now the next step is we have to assign a user to role. We have to assign user to role. So if I go to the user, so let's go to the users. For now, in our org, none of the users has a role. None of the users has a role. Now, if you see here, option called role. So on the table, this is the table of the user. In this table, we have an option that you can see here, role. The option called role option is none of the users are, we can see this information, right? Role is not yet assigned. Role is not yet assigned. Now, in order to assign, now I need to decide, we have a total here, some 10 users or 15 users are there. Okay. So now out of these users, if you observe that there is a 2 Salesforce users. One is DEC batch and the second one is Messi. And the rest there are 3 of them are standard platform user. That means this is a Salesforce platform. These 3 are Salesforce platform. So total, these are the users which I am going to use it. 2 Salesforce license, 3 Salesforce platform license. So 3 Salesforce platform licenses are assigned to Swapna, Nagamani, and Srinivas Radha. And system admin is DEC batch, Messi. So these are the 5 users I am going to use it for the practice. Okay, so let's go back to the slide. So what I'm going to do right now is I need to assign. Right now I have this role hierarchy, CEO, CFO, COO, CTO, VP. And in the other side, we have these 5 users. 3 users are Salesforce platform license, 2 users are Salesforce license. And now what I'm going to do is we have 3 roles here, VP, CTO, COO, CFO, CEO. So each role I'll be assigning to one person. So let's say CTO, I'll be assigning to Messi, and then COO, I'll be assigning to Nagamani, and CFO, I'll be assigning to Srinivas Radha, and then CEO, I'll be assigning to the DEC batch. DEC batch. And then finally, we have a VP. VP will be assigned to Swapna. So the structure here is, once I assign the structure, how the structure is, right now at the CEO level, we have a DEC batch, and then CFO is Nagamani. And then COO CFO is Radha. CFO is Srinivas Radha. And then COO is Nagamani. And CTO is Messi, and then Swapna. CTO is Messi. And then we have a Swapna. Swapna E. So this is the hierarchy. So as soon as I assign this roles to the user, this is the structure is going to be created. This is the structure is going to be created. DEC batch is on top level. That means this is a superior. And we have a 3 subordinates, Messi, Srinivas Radha, and Nagamani. And then we have a VP is Swapna E. Right? Swapna is reporting to Messi. Messi, Nagamani, Srinivas, all 3 subordinates are reporting to the DEC batch. Right? So this is the structure which I'm going to create it. Now let's go ahead and see. Let me open Salesforce. Now the first one, CEO is DEC batch. Click on edit. Now the role assignment you can do 2 ways. Role assignment you can do in 2 ways. Either you can go to the user level and click on edit and assign the role to user. This is one way, or else you can directly go to the roles. You can directly go to the roles. So on the roles, let me open the roles here. Set up roles. So let's change this view, show entry view. Now CEO is already assigned. Next, I'll be assigning the CFO. CFO is a Srinivas Radha. Right? So I'm assigning it. Now here on the role level, when you click on a assign, you can see here all assigned, all unassigned active, all users, CEO, CFO. So basically different type of users you can see. Right? So for example, right now I have selected all unassigned. Right now everybody is active in my org, right? Except the system administrator, but I'm not considering that system administrator. So in case in the real time, if you wanted to check all active users, you can click on this all active users. So right now I'm assigning the, see here, it is highlighted the CFO. It is highlighted CFO. Now click on save. Now I have assigned the CFO. Next one is COO. So COO, I'm assigning the Nagamani. Click on save. Now it is on the CEO, highlighted is COO. And next one is a CTO. I'll assign the CTO to the Messi. And click on save. And then finally, we have a VP. Assign the VP to Swapna E. So click on save. Perfect. Now, this is the structure we have created, and go ahead and refresh the user here. Right now, we have assigned the users roles to the users. Whatever the roles we have, it is assigned. Now here you can see CEO, CFO, COO, CTO, and VP. All the users are being assigned to roles. Right? So there are 3 Salesforce platform users and 2 Salesforce Lite. Salesforce licensing users, 2 Salesforce licensing users, and 3 are Salesforce platform user. Now, perfect. Now, let's go ahead and see. Basically, the scenario why we created this here, because whatever the records are created by, for example, right now this user is Messi is created the record. Messi is created the record. He is a CTO, right? Messi created the record. Assume that there is an account record, he has created it. Account record, he has created it. When this Messi has created the account record, the visibility should be only Messi should be able to see this particular account record, and then the manager, whoever the superior is there, only these 2 people can see the record. Swapna should not be able to see the record. Nagamani should not be able to see the record. Srinivas Radha should not be able to see the record. Because Swapna is reporting to Messi. She is a superior. Superior cannot see she is a subordinate. Subordinates cannot see the superior's information. Whoever the manager is there, the reporting manager, right? So the reporting manager information, VP should not be able to see. VP should not have access to it. So VP is nothing but Swapna. So she does not have access to view what Messi has created, what CTO has created, because she does not have. That's the reason she cannot see the information. Now, Srinivas Radha and Nagamani, these 2 users also should not see the record because they are siblings. They are siblings, right? So all 3 of them at the same level in the role hierarchy. All 3 of them are at the same level. 3 of them are reporting to DEC batch. Now, when the same role person is creating the record, other 2 in the same level of the role, they should not be able to see the record. So let's go ahead and see how to create a record in the account by logging it with Messi. And let's check whether this Swapna is able to see the record, whether the Nagamani is able to see the record, or Srinivas Radha is able to see the record. So right now I'm going to create an account by logging in with as a Messi, and then I'll check by logging into Swapna, I'll check by logging into Nagamani, I'll check by logging into Srinivas Radha. Now, in our org, the records that I have created, okay? The records that I have created here, I can log in as a Messi because I have done the setup, the password setting, everything is done by me, right? So I can log in from the incognito window, I can log in as a Messi. But how about logging in as a Srinivas Radha, Nagamani, and Swapna? How can we do it? So in Salesforce, we have an option at the user level. Without knowing the password, we can log in as a Srinivas Radha, I can log in as a Venna, and I can log in as a Swapna. This option is available only for admin, not everybody. Whoever the Salesforce admin people are there, only they can log in as an end user, right? So Salesforce access is given to the certain members in hospital. Admin team, there is an admin team, separate team is there. Okay, 5 members are using the Salesforce. Now we are developers, we are sitting in India and a hospital is in some US, right? So now we don't know what is the credential that is set up for the Nagamani. We don't know what is the password that they did, right? What is the password they are used to log in. So we don't know that. We cannot know the password. Password cannot be revealed, but there is a other option. There is a other option which I can log in without knowing the password. Without knowing the password, I can log in. So there is a setting we have login access policies. So if you go to the login access policy, the navigation is security setup, security. In the security, you will see the option called login access policy. So we have a security. Now, inside this security, you have an option called login access policy. Now, in this login access policy, we have a checkbox called administrators can log in as any user. Administrator can log in as any user. When I say any user, that means the user who has a Salesforce access, right? Object access. The Salesforce who has a object access or Salesforce access, not the charter license access, not the force.com license access. There are a license where it is a Salesforce license, Salesforce platform license, right? So community license. As the Salesforce license or Salesforce platform license and community license, if I wanted to log in as them, I can log in by checking on this. By enabling this, administrator can log in as any user. But as soon as I check this, will I be able to log in as a charter license user? No. Will I be able to log in as a force.com user? No. So basically, charter license users they have a specific access related to the charter. They do not have a Salesforce access, which they are performing on the object level, like creating a record, cases or something. They are not doing anything. They are just messaging it, right? So only the one users who has access to the objects, they are doing some actions in the Salesforce. They are performing certain actions like creating the cases or creating the leads, campaign, opportunities, account, contact. So they are doing some sales cloud, service cloud, marketing cloud. They are doing some part of it. So, right. So as that user, I can log in. So let's click on a save. As soon as I click on a save, the changes are saved. Now I can go to the users and click on a users. Now you will see there is an option called login. The login app option has been enabled. For who all? For Salesforce license, for Salesforce platform license, not for the charter free license, analytic cloud integration. No, not for them. Right. So on whatever we needed, we can see the login access. Now, instead of logging in from the incognito, what I can do is right now I'm into the admin access, right? I'm into the DEC badge. Now, if I click on a login button, what will happen? Immediately, it will switch from the DEC badge to the Lionel Messi. So right now I have logged in as a Messi. Right now I have logged in as a Messi. I did not log out, logged in back, or I did not try to log in from the incognito. From my org, whatever the org is there, system admin org, from that org, I just clicked on the user option here, login. By clicking on this button, I'm able to log in as an end user. As an end user, I'm able to log in. Now let's go to the accounts. So let's create a new account. Let's say that account name, role hierarchy. So role hierarchy, let's give account. Right, only the mandatory field is account name. If you want a rating, you can add the rating, phone number, website, anything we can add it. So right now I'm just adding this information. Let's go ahead and create it. Now, who has created this role hierarchy account is created by Messi. So if you go to the detail section, you can see created by. Created by will give who has created this. And by default, account owner will be the person who has created it. So account owner is by default same as the created by. Same as created by. Now, this user has created the record and he should be having the access to edit, delete, everything is there. Now what I'll do is I'll log out as a Messi. Now when I log out as a Messi, what is happening? It is automatically coming out of the org, right? I need to do additional step to log in back. Now I do not want to log out. Whenever I click on a log out, it should not come out of the org. Now I don't want, when I click on the logout, for example, I clicked on here login. So after clicking on the login, I'll perform some action here. Probably I'll test how this user is working on it. So after testing it, I'll click on a logout. Logout as a Messi. I'm not logging out as a DEC. I'm just doing the logout as a Messi. But what system is doing, what is the org is doing, it is completely logging out from the my org. So DEC batch also, that user is also logged out. Now I do not want this option to be happen. When I click on a logout, it should come back to the user because from here we went from here. Now when I click on a logout, it should come back to the user screen. So in case if you want that kind of a setting, we have a setting option called, there is a session settings. You can search here option called session settings, which is in the security. So on the security, you can see there is a session settings. So in the session settings, there is an option called force relogin after login as a user. Force relogin after login as a user. That means if I'm logging in as an end user and if I click on a logout, what is happening? It is completely logging out from the Salesforce org. Now, if you are doing the logout, immediately login back without me performing multiple clicks, forcefully re-login. So what I'll do is I'll uncheck this. So I'll click on a save. I'll click on save. And now it is done. So let me log in as Messi. Right, so I'll click on a logout. Now this time when I click on a logout, what happened is it did not went to the logout screen. It immediately came back to the user screen. From which screen I logged in. When I clicked on the logout, it came back to the same screen. So those are some configuration steps. Now by default, if you are not able to see the login, go to the settings. There is an option called login access policy. So by clicking on this, you can enable and you can see this login button. Now, back to our scenario. Now this user has been created. Now this user who is Messi has created the record. Record is role hierarchy account. Messi created the role hierarchy account. Right? So now, as per the Salesforce standard, if this user is created the record, this user should not be able to see, this user should not be able to see, this user should not be able to see. Only access is DEC batch, right? Now, perfect. So let me go back to our org. First, I'll check as a DEC batch. So let me go to the DEC batch. So I'm the DEC batch. So let's go to the Salesforce, click on accounts. So click on all accounts. Perfect. The DEC batch is able to see the record. That is working perfectly fine. But how about Nagamani? If I log in as in Nagamani, will she able to see the record as per the Salesforce standard?
No.
So let's go ahead and click on login. So this is a Salesforce platform license. Click on view all. Now I'll open up the account. Now click on all account. But the Nagamani is able to see the record. Now what is happening here? As per the Salesforce standard, they both should not be seeing the record. This person is also should not be seeing the record. But right now, she is able to see the messy record. She is able to see messy record. Now, what is this concept? Now, why these both are able to see the records of messy, and Swapna is also able to, when these members are able to see the record, that means Swapna is also able to see the record. Now, what is happening here?
I think they are subordinate, right? Srinivasan, Nagamani, Messi.
They are the siblings. So
Siblings,
should not be able to see the messy record.
I think there is two options why they can see. One thing is at OWD, it's public read write, or it's either view all or modify all rights in the profile. You need to check.
So role hierarchy does not work single. Role hierarchy does not work single. So as I have explained in the starting of this slide, so the role hierarchy is always to extend the OWD base level. If your OWD is public read write, that means you have already opened up. Then what is there to open up? What is there to extend? So basically we have a OWD. So this is OWD. Now this OWD level, what we are doing it, we are already saying the public read write. When we are already saying the public read write, role hierarchy does not work. Role hierarchy does not work. Combination does not work because it is already open. The access is already open. Now what the role hierarchy does, there is nothing to do with the role hierarchy. Now the role hierarchy come into the picture when you restrict the access. When you restrict the access at the OWD level. When you restrict the access at the OWD level. So that means when you say my OWD is a private, my OWD is a private, OWD is nothing but organization by default. So when it is a private, then only we are going to open up the access using the role hierarchy. So the combination should be OWD and a role hierarchy. So this is a role hierarchy and this is OWD. So only the combination of OWD and role hierarchy will be applied to the record level access. Record level access will be applied only combination of the OWD and the role. Single role access does not work. Single OWD access does not work. So there are multiple ways where you can share the record. But here one option is which we have is using the role hierarchy. If you want to use the role hierarchy, then you have to use the combination of OWD private and role hierarchy. So the combination only, it will work on the sharing the records. So OWD is nothing but, So OWD is nothing but organization-wide default. OWD is nothing but organization-wide default. Now, organization-wide default. So what is this? OWD are used to indicate the level of access of the record inside the organization. OWD are used to indicate the level of the access. Level of the access inside the organization. So when that means you have to first set what is your base level. So definitely base level is profile and permission. They are on the object level, object field level. But once the object level permissions are already given, now we have to work on the record level access. So for the record level access, the first place which we need to see is OWD. So OWD is the one which we have to see whether it should be private or whether it should be a different access. Everything we have to set it at the OWD. So based on the OWD itself, the access will, rest of the other access will work. Now OWD decides which record should be visible to whom inside the organization. Now how will I know that who will be seeing those records? So basically we have, so Salesforce provided the various OWD options. OWD options. The first one is a private access, and next one is a public read-only access. And then we have a public read-write access, and then we have a public read-write transfer, public full access, no access, use access, view only access, controlled by parent access. So these are the some default access which are there. There are few other access also, but these are the one which we use it mostly in the real time. In the real time, we will use this. So private, public read only, public read write, public read write transfer, public full access, public no access, use view only, controlled by parent. Now, private, public read only, public read write. Private, public read only, public read write, and then we have a read write transfer and the full access, no access, use, view only, and then controlled by parent. Now, first three, what are the first three options are there? Private, public read only, public read only, public read write. These three access are available for all the standard object and the custom object. These three options is available for the all the standard objects and the custom object except the price book and the calendar. So when you go to the OWD, you will not see for the price book, these options you will not see. For calendar also, you will not see these options. Private, public read only, public read write, you will not be able to see. But apart from this price book and calendar, all the standard object, custom object, these three options are by default, it will be applicable. Now, public read write transfer is for the lead and cases. Because lead, we will transfer the lead. For case also, we will do the transfer. So public read write transfer is only applicable along with the private public read only, public read write. Along with this, we will see another option called public read write transfer for lead and case. No other custom objects will have a transfer. So only lead and case will have a read write transfer. Now the full access is available only for the campaign. Along with private, public read only, public read write, then we'll have a public full access for the campaign. And then no access, use, view only. So we have a no access, use, view only. These three options for the price book. Either price book will have a no access, price book is a use, price book is a view only. And the last one is a controlled by parent option. So the controlled by parent option is applicable only for the child objects. Only for child objects. So we have not seen right now what are the child objects. But whenever we are going to discuss it, we will be discussing the child object. So right now, child object is nothing but there is a parent object here and the child object at the bottom. So when the child object is, that means this is one object, this is one object, right? This is one, this is two. Whenever this object is connected to this object, that means this became a parent and this became a child. So right now I have single two objects. So this is a single object, object 1, and this is another object, object 2. Now these are the two different objects. Now as soon as I link my object 2 to object 1, that means this became a parent and this became a child. That means I am linking the connection from one object to another object. That means this became a child and this became a parent. Now all the child objects will be, you will see along with the private, public, read-only, public, read-write, you will see controlled by parent as well. You will see controlled by parent as well. Because whenever we enable the connection here, okay, there is a certain connections we have, we will see that, but assume that right now there is a connection is linked. Whenever we link a connection, based on the what type of connection we made it, based on that, controlled by parent will be applicable for all those child objects. Now let's go ahead and see OWD navigation, setup, sharing settings. So don't search for the OWD. OWD is nothing but a sharing settings. So you have to click on a sharing setting option and then it will open the organization by default section, and there are other sections also. Just focus on for now organization by default section, and then you can click on edit button to make a changes. So let's go ahead. Let's log out as a Nagamani. Now here, sharing settings. So sharing settings, whenever you click on a sharing settings, it will by default land onto the organization by default, organization by default. And below that, you will see other options also, other settings, sharing rules, right? You will see sharing rules as well. So this is based on the object, lightning flows, process builder queues, all this information you can see. So we will see the sharing rules later. But right now our focus is on only on the organization default, only on the organization default. Sharing settings. So here the description it is given that this page displays user organization sharing settings. These settings specify the level of access your users have to each other's data. Go to the background jobs to monitor the progress of the change to an organization by default or a parallel sharing recalculation. Now, what we are going to do is, now we have created the record on the account level. Messi has created the record on the account level. Now the problem is Nagamani is able to see the record. The reason is we have an account level here, public read write. Public read write. Now observe here, we have two different things, default internal access, default external access. Default internal access is nothing but all the internal users. If you go to here, user, whatever the users list is there, right? This users list, whatever the internal users are there. If you want to apply certain access level for the internal users, then we have to make a changes on the internal access. Whereas external access is nothing but this is mostly used for the API For example, you have implemented a REST API or a SOAP API. So that means third-party system. There is a third-party system. Whoever does not understand the API, there is some system, third-party system, who are talking to the Salesforce. By talking to the Salesforce is nothing but they are accessing the account, they are accessing the lead, they are accessing the opportunity, they are accessing the cases. These all information they are accessing it. So for them, what level of access we should give it for the external users? External users is nothing but the users details we will not be storing in the Salesforce. Those are external users. Through some integration, they are talking to the Salesforce. So for them, what level of access should we give it? Now, grant access using hierarchy. Grant access using hierarchy is by default, it is on for all the standard objects. All the standard objects, it is by default on. You cannot edit these options. For the custom objects, you can edit it. For the custom objects, you can edit the grant access using hierarchy. Basically, what it is saying is, though here it is saying the private. Okay, assume that here we are saying the private. Now, for the custom object, it is a private. But do you want to apply sharing the records based on the hierarchy? If you do not want to apply based on the hierarchy, then uncheck. That means you will not be able to see whether the person is at the CEO level or whether the person is a subordinate or whether it is a superior. Whatever the role hierarchy is there, it will not share the record if it is a private. Now, these three options we have. Now, for now, our focus is on the account. Now, let's click on the edit option. Edit option. So here account. So we have three options. All the standard custom objects will be having a private, public, read-only, and read-write. Whereas price book and calculator, you will not see those options. So calendar is having something hide details, show details, and price book will be having a use, no access. So these access will be there. And whereas lead and cases, you will see the transfer. There is an option is called transfer. So transfer option will be there. Now for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on account. Now what is this message it is giving? Basically, when I change the private, now opportunity and cases, both of them are linked to the, so we have an opportunity here and we have a cases. Now these two are linked to the account, right? These are linked to the account. As soon as I make an account private, immediately my opportunity became a private and my case became a private. Both are private. Right now, opportunity is a read-write and case is a opportunity public read-write. Now, case access must be private when account access is set to private. Now, you can say that contact is also linked to account, lead is also linked to account. But for the Salesforce, at the back end of Salesforce code, only opportunity and cases are interlinked with the account. If you are making any changes on the sharing level, only the opportunity cases will be impacted. No other object will be impacted. So that is the setting which is there on the Salesforce backend. So when the case sharing mode is private, each case queue must have at least one member. If you are using a case queue, please confirm the cases setup. Okay, this is, we have not reached at that point. We will see that later. Now you see here, account became a private and opportunity became a private and cases became a private. Lead is same and the contact is also same. We did not change anything. So right now I'll click on a save. Okay, I wanted to continue this. It will take a second or more than a second. Basically, there will be the code will be running at the back end of the Salesforce to update all the settings on the org wide, because we are simply making here public read write to the private. So whenever we make a changes, entire org level, whoever the users are there, entire org level, all the settings or sharings will be changed. Sharings will be changed for all the users. So let's click on a refresh. Okay, so now it became a private, and then opportunity private, cases is private. Now I'll go back to the same scenario. Messi has created the record, which is called role hierarchy account. Now I'll log in as Nagamani. Now Nagamani should not be able to see the record right now, the one which is created by Messi. All accounts. Basically, they do not have any access, right? So Nagamani cannot be able to see any records, my account, because she has not created any record. For example, let's assume that Nagamani is creating the record. Let's say that Nagamani account, I'm creating as Nagamani account. Let's click on a save. Now perfect, they are able to see the record and created by Nagamani, right? Last modified by Nagamani. Now Nagamani has created the record. If I log in as a Messi, should be able to see the record or not?
No.
No, ma'am.
Messi should not be able to see the record. So let's click on a login. Click on accounts. Click on all accounts. Perfect. So whatever the Messi created, only those users are visible. Only those users are visible. Those accounts are visible. Now, who can see that record, whatever the Nagamani is created? Who can see the record?
Only Nagamani and December batch.
PEC batch. So let's log out. So let's go to the all accounts. So DEC batch is, right now I'm in DEC batch. So this user has a CEO access. Now this user should be able to see Nagamani account. Perfect. Now let's assume that. For example, this is the concept of OWD navigation. So that means OWD private is nothing but a record is visible to only record owner and his manager or her manager based on the role hierarchy. Other users cannot see the record. That's what we have seen practically. To make the record visible to other user inside the organization. That means if I want, right now, this is nobody should be able to see, right? Siblings should not be able to see, and whoever the below person is there, they are not seeing the records. Now let's assume that Messi is going for a vacation. So here Messi is created Messi is going for a vacation. Okay, Messi is going for a vacation. But right now, Messi is handling some clients which are very important. Now DEC batch said that, okay, there is some information that I needed. So DEC batch informed Messi that I need some reports or some data by tomorrow. But Messi is going a vacation from today night onwards. So what Messi does is, Messi requested Swapna, can you do some access on behalf of me because I'm going for a vacation, and submit it to DEC batch. Share with the DEC batch, or whatever you're doing it, just update the DEC batch. So Swapna has to take a responsibility of Messi. So that means Messi has to share the record to Swapna. Now, by sharing, the Swapna is able to access the record. Right now, they are not able to access. Swapna is not able to access any of the record that is created by Messi. But for example, right now they are going for a vacation. If we want to share the record, we have a concept called sharing feature. We have a concept called sharing feature. So the sharing mechanism is, let's take an example of account object. Concept is like an account object, the one which we have discussed. On the account object, before going to sharing mechanism, any questions on the OWD and the user level?
Swapna, I'm having one question.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like our hierarchy, we are having CEO on top, CTO, COO are there, right?
Mm.
Under the COO, we are having some recruitment team.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever the recruiter raised, that can be seen by CTO also, right? I mean, like CFO subordinate CFO subordinate record can be visible to CTO also, right?
No. So let's take an example of technical lead. Okay. Technical lead has a junior Salesforce. Assume the technical lead has a senior Salesforce. Okay. And multiple senior Salesforce are there here. Now for the senior Salesforce, again, there is some members who are junior developers. Now, what this junior developer is doing, this is the first junior developer, this is the second one, this is the third one. Similarly, we have a senior Salesforce 1, senior Salesforce 2, senior Salesforce 3, senior Salesforce 4, senior Salesforce 5. Whatever this junior developer 1 is doing it, this person will not know, right?
Yes.
So same thing, whatever CTO is doing it, this person, they will not be able to see. CFO, COO will not be able to see.
My question is, Swapna, junior developer 1 was assigned to senior lead 1. Let's senior developer 1.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any chance to see the record or which was the changes done by senior developer 1 to senior developer 2?
No.
Yeah, that's where I was little confused. So because
This user cannot see anything from this concept. This is completely different org structure.
Okay, thanks for that.
Any other questions? Okay, so let's move on. Now, sharing mechanism. So let's take an example, the account object which we have used it, right? So for this account object, what we have done is on the OWD level, we kept it as a private. On the OWD level, we kept it as a private because we do not want to share the records that are created by the user. Only that person should be able to see and the manager should be able to see. No other member should be able to see the records that are created by that user. So that's the reason we do not want to share any records. We do not want to share any records with any other member. That's the reason we have kept the OWD as a private. Now, when we kept the OWD as a private, now the concept came as, now the Messi is going on a vacation. Now, when the Messi is going on a vacation, he wanted to transfer certain data to the Swapna, who reports to him, right? Swapna reports to Messi, so that Swapna can handle on behalf of Messi. Now, that's how the concept came as a sharing feature. The concept came as sharing feature. Now, sharing features. This is one of the interview questions they will ask. What are the different sharing settings we have? What are the different sharing mechanisms we have? There are different sharing mechanisms. So the sharing mechanisms are, first one is a automated sharing and Apex sharing and manual sharing. So we have a manual sharing, automated sharing, Apex sharing. So we can share the record. We can share the record either manual or either automated or using the code. Using the code, I can share it. Now, for right now, we are going to focus on only the manual sharing. So whenever they ask in the interview, what are the sharing mechanisms, you can say that we can share the record manually or automated or Apex sharing. Using these three, we can share the record to the other users. Now, right now, we are going to focus on manual sharing. So in the manual sharing, what we are going to do is, whenever we use a manual sharing, by clicking on the button, that means whoever is going on the vacation, that person has to click on a button. There is a button called sharing on the each record. Each record, we will see there is a button called sharing button. So using that button, we can share a record to the another person. So when we click on this button, there are a different level of access will be there. You can give a access, read-only access. You can give a access, read-write access. So read-only is nothing but when you click on a button, it will ask, system will ask, do you want to share a record as a read-only? Or do you want to share a record as a read-write? Read-only is nothing but the other person only view the record. He cannot edit the record. Now, read edit is nothing but the other users, whomever we are sharing the record, the other user should be able to see the record as well as the edit the record. Now, here the concept is Messi wanted to share the record with Swapna. Now, if he says that now Swapna, Messi is going to share the record, the account record. So share the account record, specific account record to Swapna. Now, whenever they are sharing the record, now he can mention whether he wants, the Messi wants read-only access or read-write access. But here, whenever we are sharing whether the read-only or a read-write, only two things that can be done by Swapna whenever we are sharing it. Either she can read the data or she can edit the data. She can read the data or she can edit the data, but she cannot delete the data. She cannot delete the record. She cannot transfer to anybody. Transfer, delete, sharing, she cannot do it. Only the level of access is either she can read the data, read the record, or edit the record, but she cannot delete the record. She cannot transfer the record. So the level of access is only certain limit. It does not have full length of limit. Now, once we decide what level of access is there, then we can share to a single user or multiple users. We can share a record to the single user or multiple users. If you want a single users, you have to select a single user name. But if you want to select a multiple users, we have a concept called public group. Using the public groups, we will assign to the multiple users. For now, our focus is on the single users. So right now, till this point is we have done create account, OWD private, this we have did it, right? So using the OWD settings, we have updated the account, and using the role hierarchy, the level of the access to the users has given. Now the second concept which we are going to see today is sharing mechanism using the manual sharing. Using the manual sharing. How to share a record to the another user, whether the user is reporting to that user or whether the user is a sibling or whether the user is a subordinate, whoever it might be, how to share a record as a manual. So using the manual concept, how to share. So let's go ahead and see that.
Swapna,
Yeah.
in the sharing mechanism, I guess we have one more sharing mechanism, right? That is by sharing rules. Don't we have to mention that as well?
That is
No, but isn't that a no, but isn't that the sharing mechanism? That's what my question is.
which one?
Isn't that a sharing mechanism?
Which one?
Sharing rule.
Yes, that is a different concept that is based on the rule. There is a certain rules we have to apply. So
Yeah,
we
no,
will
but
discuss based on the rules, based on the certain conditions. That means if account equal to Hyderabad, then only share the record. So that is also sharing. But here what we are discussing is how can I share a record? There is a no condition. I'm not applying any condition here. I'm just applying it when I'm doing the sharing. By default, I wanted to share the records.
Okay. So when you say sharing mechanism, you're talking about sharing a single record, right?
Yes.
All three methods. Okay.
Yes. So let's go ahead and see that. Now let's log in as Messi. So when I log in as Messi, right now, Messi has created the account called role hierarchy. Okay. So here we have a concept called sharing. There is a button called sharing. So manual sharing will be always done using the sharing button. So click on this sharing button. So when you click on a sharing button, so the level of access is here. The level of access is decided here. Now when I'm sharing the account, definitely case and opportunity will be linked, because this is how the concept of the sharing at the backend in the Salesforce technology, right? So at the backend, these two are tightly bound with account. So in case if you wanted to share, this is a level of access where we can see only the read-only access, the read-write access. Now the level of access, either if you give the read-only, the users will be able to see only the record. If you give the read-write, then the user will be able to see the read-write record. Now case access. For now, case access is private. At the OWD level, case access is private. It will not ask you the level of access. It will not ask you for the case and opportunity, it will not ask the level of access. It will, by default, it will show private. But if you wanted to change anything, read only or read write, and here if you wanted to change read only, read write, you can change it. But by default, it will not show read only. By default, it will not show read only. No, it will show only the private. Only it will show only the private by default. But if you wanted to change, you can change it as per the requirement. Now that is the level of access. Now here shared with one group of user. Now who is the one group of user? Only Messi, because Messi is the one owner. Messi is the one owner. Now I have not shared with anybody. Now if I give, now here selected. Now we have options here, user, role and subordinate. When I select a user, that means I can select a user here. For me, the user is Swapna. So Swapna E. I have selected the user Swapna. The level of access which I am giving here, read only. Read only, I'm giving it. I'm not changing anything for the case and opportunity. Let's go ahead and click on save. Now I'm sharing the record. The record is role hierarchy account. I'm sharing with Swapna as a read only. Click on save. Now to confirm whether it is really shared with the Swapna or not. So again, click on that. Now here it will show shared with two group of users. Who are the two group of users? One is whoever is created. The second one, whom I have given the access. What level of access which I have given? Read only access, private access, private access. If you want to make changes to here, you can make a changes. Okay. So now let me log out as a Leonia. And let's log in as Swapna. So when I log in as Swapna, let's go to the account. Okay, recent accounts, nothing is there, all accounts, right? This user is able to see the record which is created by Messi. Whoever is created the user, whoever is created the record, that user has shared the record. That user has shared the record. Now Swapna is able to see the record. Swapna is able to see the record. Now, can she perform edit access? Now, I wanted to edit something here. Type prospect to the customer direct. Click on save. It will give you do not have a necessary privileges to edit the record. Because when we shared it, we shared as a read-only
Read
access. Right? We did not share any we did not share the
Read and write.
read and write. Now let me go back as a login as a Messi. Login as Messi. Now I'll click on accounts. I'll go to the role hierarchy account. And then I'll change the sharing. Now instead of read only, what I'll do is I'll change it to read write. Now click on save. Perfect, the data is updated. If you wanted to confirm what level of access is there, just click on again sharing. Let's click on the sharing to group of user, read write access is there. Now log out as a Messi and the login back as a Swapna. So when you log in back as a Swapna, let's go to the account. View all accounts. The role hierarchy. Now if I click on a edit option. So for example, I'm updating the type. So customer direct, click on a save, it is updated. How about if this user is deleting it? Now, this user, Swapna, is trying to delete the account. When she trying to delete the account, system is saying that there is a problem saving this record. You might not have a permission to edit it. Why it is saying permission to edit it? Because whenever we delete it at the Salesforce backend, we have a one field called is delete. So is delete will be changed from false to true. So they need to update in the Salesforce database is deleted equal to false. That means we need to edit the record in order to make that changes. So that's the reason it is saying that you might not have a permission to edit the record, or it might have been deleted or archived. Contact your system administrator, right? So it will not be allowed to delete it. Details. Okay, till this point, is it clear? Okay. So manual sharing is nothing but can share the record to the required users manually with the help of sharing button. And by using the sharing button, we can share the record to single user or multiple users. When I say multiple users, can I use it without the public group? Yes, you can assign without the public group also. So log out as Swapna. Log in back to Missy. So I'm logging in as Missy. Let's go to the account. Now role hierarchy account. Now click on sharing. For example, the Messi came back. Now he wanted to delete this access. Now he will be deleted. Click on save. So the save, whatever the access is there, that is being deleted. Record shared data for this Swapna was deleted. So now Swapna does not have. Now, for example, I wanted to assign this to the multiple users. You can select multiple users here, Swapna, and for example, Nagamani. If you wanted to do, you can do it. For example, you have a 20 users, you have to select it, right? Rather than doing manual effort, we can better use the public group. By using the public group, you can assign that to the multiple users. But only the way to put public group, no, you can multiple users can be applicable here. Right. Now, one more thing I wanted to discuss here, role. You can also assign the role. You can also assign the role. Now here Messi is CTO. Messi is CTO. Now you wanted to assign this to the COO users. You can directly assign it. COO user is Nagamani. Right? So if you wanted to assign it to the VP is Swapna. So whoever is having the access, you can access using the role also. Instead of a user, you can put the role name. So basically whoever in the user level, what happens, user level, single user is going to get the access. When you select a role, if multiple users are assigned to the same role, then all those users are going to get the access. All those users are going to get the access. Now, when I say role and subordinates, what is this means? Role and subordinate means, for example, below the Swapna, like below VP, we have technical lead. And below this, we have a senior Salesforce. Senior Salesforce. And then below this, we have a developers. And below this, we have a junior developers. Now, role and subordinate is nothing but I wanted to share the record with senior Salesforce. Along with that, I wanted to share with all the members who are reporting to the senior Salesforce. Here, developer is reporting to senior Salesforce, junior is reporting to developer, right? So whatever this role is there, below this role, whoever the subordinates are there, everybody should be getting the access. Give the access to this role, and within this role, whoever the subordinates are there, everybody should be getting the access. That is the concept called role and subordinates. Role and subordinates. Give it to team lead, and whoever is reporting to team lead, everybody should be getting the access as well. So in that case, role and subordinate. Grant access, read only. It means only user will have a permission to read the record. Read write is nothing but it will grant the access to read and edit. It will not allow user to delete it. Now the requirement is create an account record by logging in a CTO user account and share the record to the CFO user with read-only access. That's what we have done so far. So here CTO user is nothing but Messi. If you want to share with the Srinivas Radha, right? Requirement is to share with CFO user. Messi has to share the record with CFO, which is a Srinivas Radha. So let's go ahead and share the record. I have already logged in as a Messi. Now, before that, let me log in as a Srinivas Radha. Let's log in. Let's go to the account. View all accounts. So all accounts. Now she is not able to see any records. Now what I'll do is I'll log in as Messi. When I log in as Messi, I'll open the account, role hierarchy, account, and I'll click on the sharing button. And on the sharing button, I'll select the user. User is Srinivas Radha. And the read-only access, click on save. Now let's log out as a Leon or Messi and log in back as a Srinivas Radha. And click on view all accounts and click on all the accounts. Now the user is able to see the record. Right now this user has a record access. Right now this user has a record access. Okay, any questions on the role hierarchy, OWD, sharing mechanism, manual sharing? Automated sharing, we will do that. Automated sharing is nothing but based on the certain criteria we wanted to apply it. That could be through the sharing rule or other things. Any question till this point?
Ma'am, when we are sharing, right, when we're clicking on a share button, so like there we can see like cases and opportunities. Like what does it will actually do that there?
Related to this account, for example, right now, let me log in as Radha. Now let's log in as a Messi. Now I'll go to the account, role hierarchy. For now, this account is not linked to cases and opportunity. Let's go ahead and create a one case. Okay, so status new, contact name, account name. Okay, nothing is mandatory, only this new and case origin phone. And the type, I'll select mechanical, case reason installation, click on a save. Now there is a one case is created for this account. Now log out as a Messi. Login back Srinivas Radha. Now let's go to the accounts. And click on that role hierarchy account. Now, does that person is able to see?
No.
View all. Okay, basically Salesforce support does not have it. Instead of that, instead of Salesforce platform user, now probably I'll log in as a DEC batch. Just a second. I'll log in as a DEC batch, but DEC batch is CEO. So what I'll do is for now, I'll change the access to CEO I'll change from CEO to VP. Now DEC batch is report to Messi. Okay, so I'm already as a DEC batch. Let's go to the accounts. All accounts. Yes, somebody was asking some question.
I think that was in private, like private access.
Private access.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the.
Will I be able to see Nagamani record? Yes. Okay. So certain additional permission that I have, DEC batch, but ideally they will not be able to see. So if it is a private, that means they will not be able to see the record. If it is a read only, along with the account, the cases will also be shared. So on the dev org, we do not have a more licenses, so we cannot create that. So DEC batch is just basically system admin that has a additional access also. So it's a same concept. Private is nothing but where other users cannot see. And read only is nothing but the other users can see that.
Ma'am, contact also relation with the account, right now.
Contact is also.
Then, maintain relation with the account. Then why it is not showing as a like a case of opportunity like that, ma'am?
Right.
Sharing settings.
Right. So that is as per the, if you look at the object structure says that account contact are tightly bound. When you look at the sharing setting, account is basically, it's saying here controlled by parent. Okay, it is controlled by parent. Now, for example, it is private here. If it is a private, definitely if you are creating a Messi is creating the contact here, the contact also will not be visible to other user. But this access, whatever you are asking that private should be changed for the contact, no, it cannot be changed. So that is a concept which is there in the Salesforce.
Ma'am, which is parent for contact that controlled by parent? No? Which is parent?
Account is the parent.
Now account is private. Then what happened in contact?
What are the private access is
to...
there? So basically controlled by parent is nothing but, let me explain. So controlled by parent, that means I have two objects are there. Okay. One is a parent object and the second one is a child object. So now if this is basically connected. Now, whatever the access it has, whether it has a public read access, that means the same access will be applicable to the contact. If the parent is a private, the private access will be applicable to the child. So whatever the parent has, the same access will be followed by child also. Clear?
Also like private, right?
Your voice is breaking.
Yeah, now okay, ma'am. You done?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
In
case if you do
that means
not want,
contact now it is
In case if you do not want control by parent, basically what will happen is whatever the parent access is there, the child objects also follows the same access. But in case if you do not want the child object should be followed the same as the parent object, then you can change it to the private. You can change it to the private and click on save. We need to change the external also. Because in the Salesforce, all the object, whatever we are doing it, everything is connected to each other. Of one object is connected to another object is connected to different things. Like everything we are connecting each other. So if you have a starting parent object, have some access level. If you do not want to break the child object access also, you wanted to follow the same access. In that case, you can use the control by parent. That means who will be doing this? The access level is controlled by the account.
Yeah.
Ma'am, how we can share that multiple records, ma'am? If it is 1, 2 records means we can share like manually, and like 100 records like that we have to share means how can?
The concept is called public groups. Using that, we can share it. That we will be discussing next week.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Swapna?
Yeah.
Yeah, are we done for today, or you're going to teach more?
No, we are yet to.
Okay, because I wanted to discuss that scenario. I don't know, someone from the group had asked the question, remember? Like what is the easiest way that you can, the users are sharing the same profile and you want to give access to the, I mean, the orders, that the records from the subordinate should be visible to the manager. Some question was raised, I don't know, some interview question. I think this is the right time we can discuss it, right? Because I have one doubt in that. Can someone please
Just
repeat
hold
that
on
question?
it. Hold on that one question. Any other
Okay,
question?
okay.
Okay. So
Swapna, I wanted to ask one more thing. Like that control by parent and private, those access, right? Can you just go in this org?
Yes, tell me.
Yeah. So I think it depends on the type of relationship, right?
Right.
Master detail and lookup relationship. Based
Right.
on that, we say that, correct?
Right,
Okay.
right. So that's we have not
Okay.
yet discussed. Whoever does not understand the master
Okay.
lookup, so do not think about it. So it's based on the type of link. How I'm linking the parent. Based on the type of link, the controlled by will be decided. That part we will be discussing later. So what did we learn so far?
Role hierarchies.
Roles, differences between the roles and profile.
OWD.
OWD navigation, OWD private,
Sharing.
sharing
Sharing
mechanism,
roles,
Sharing.
manual sharing, automated sharing.
Apex.
Right. So what does role hierarchy do here in Salesforce?
allows us to make the subordinated records to get visibility to the manager by default.
So it will allow the users to make the subordinate records to be get visible to the manager by default. What is OWD?
All by default.
It is like record level access.
Record level
Indicate
access?
the level of access, the record inside the organization.
By the other users.
Level of access inside the organization.
Level of access?
Inside the organization.
Yes, inside the organization. So basically level of the access of the record inside the organization. If OWD is private for single object, then what will happen?
The existing user and higher manager only can able to see that records.
Other users cannot see the records. What are different type of sharing mechanism?
Manual sharing.
Manual sharing.
Automated.
Automated sharing.
Apex.
Sharing.
Okay. And let's assume that there is a scenario. If OWD is a private. This is the interview question. Profile level account object has create, read, edit, delete, modify all. What will happen?
OWD can override the profile now.
No, in this case, profile will override.
Sorry.
When it is modify all or view all. Yeah.
But what user will be able to see this?
User will be able to see all the records. In fact, everyone will be able to see everything when it's modify all and view all. Yes, profile will take higher preference. We should never set modify all and view all.
We have not given view all, only the modify all.
Modify like
What the user will be able to see?
user can see all the records.
No, I don't think so. I think he can only modify. Confused.
Yes, what the user can do here.
User can access all the create, read, edit, delete, every option he will get on the records now.
But I have not given the view all option. I have just selected the modify all.
Okay.
Yes.
Modify all data like
Modify all.
sorry, not that one. I think maybe it is automatically checked by that if we are checking modify all, it is automatically taking view also. I think.
Yeah, when we say modify all, view all is also enabled by default. So that means all users can do everything on that object. They will not respect OWD or role hierarchy in that case.
Others. Sri Lakshmi, Srinivas. What will happen?
I think so, ma'am. OWD is private. No one able to see the record.
Then always OWD override the profile.
Yes, ma'am.
But
OWD override the profile?
Like because of private OWD is like private that record should be in private.
Because both are object level security. Profile is providing.
Record levels.
Yeah.
Profile is object level, OWD is a record level.
Record level.
Yeah. But ma'am, I'm confusing in that modify all option. Why that modify all what effect I do? I confused on that.
This is the interview question. Most of the interview questions they will ask this. They will say that I have a object where it has a create, read, edit, delete, and modify all. And the OWD is private, whether the user is able to access the record or not.
First priority will go to that profile only, ma'am. Because of without profile access, we can't do that particular user can't do anything. I think so in organization.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. First priority
Not
goes
able
to that profile accesses.
So the answer is whether the user is able to see or not.
I can see, ma'am. User can see that.
Can see.
I think so. No. My side, no.
Okay, how many members says yes? Akash, no. Archana, yes. Okay, let me ask this question. How about this? If I have a OWD private and profile is account create, read, edit, delete. What will happen? User will be able to see all the records or not?
Oh, ma'am, only user which is owner to the particular user that records only can see. That user can see only that candidate creates.
Not all the records.
Not all the records.
The user, is everybody agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
User?
In hierarchy also they can see that records, no? For that.
Sorry, can you come again, Ram Gopal?
Owner was seeing that records, then hierarchy like a manager role, different hierarchy. Higher
Assume that there
level
is
also.
no role right now. We are only just playing with the OWD and profile.
That time owner only we can see. No?
See
Remaining.
his records, yes. Now, okay, now if I give a additionally modify all, what will happen? If I give additionally modify all, what will happen? So far, for account create, read, edit, delete was there, user was able to see his records. So this is was there. His records he was able to see. Now if I add a modify all app option, what will happen?
I think he can edit the other records also.
He can edit the other records, but I'm not giving the view all.
Once modify, we can enable the modify all, it automatically select all the correct rules and do.
Yes, Ram Gopal, what will happen?
Yeah, modify all, it's cred rules all applied. No? View all also it's maybe applied.
Yes. So whenever we select a modify all, because this is for the confusion, what they will ask is this kind of a scenarios they will ask. They will say that I have a modify all. I have a modify all. And whenever I have a modify all, whether the user is able to see all the records or not. So we have to remember here when we check a modify all, when we check a modify all, by default view all and delete
CRUD operation.
Not all the
Altogether.
operation, delete, edit, read. Create won't be coming. So when we select the modify all, view all, delete, edit, read, these 4 options will be automatically switched on. Create, it will not switch on. Create, you have to do it manually. So by default, it will select the read, edit, delete, view all when we check the modify all. So the question they will ask is, I have a view all unchecked, modify all is checked. Now what will happen? The user is able to log in all his records and other records or not. So this is a confusing question. Okay, now moving back to the homework. So create a role hierarchy, CEO, CFO, and CTO. And VP is reporting to CTO, COO, CFO is reporting to CEO. Assign CTO, CEO to the Salesforce license user. Assign CFO, COO, CTO roles to the Salesforce platform license user. That is the first homework. And the second one is update OWD settings to account to private, and then create an opportunity record by logging in as a CTO user. Whoever the CTO user is there, create an opportunity and log in as a CFO, COO, and COO should not be able to see the opportunity record that is created by CTO user. Now here, whether first of all CFO, COO will be able to see the opportunity. Does they have a opportunity object access? So what is the license we are applying for the CFO, COO? Salesforce platform license. Now homework 2, I'm saying that opportunity created and login as a CFO, COO should not be able to see the opportunity record created by CTO user. Now my first question, will the CTO is able to create an opportunity? Okay, try that. Homework 3, update OWD setting to account to private. Create an opportunity record by logging in with a CTO user. Login as CFO, COO user should not be able to see the opportunity record. Now, another requirement is, instead of an opportunity, place it as an account. Another opportunity, just another homework 4. Here, account, and share the account. Fine. And these are the trial heads, data security, and there is something called delegated administrator, and then we have protected data in your Salesforce. So these are the trial heads. Okay, so we are done with today. Let me pause.